In my home, I have over 3,500 books, and half of that, or maybe more, are language learning books that I've been collecting for most of my life, for 40 years for sure. One of my favorite parts of my library is a series of language learning books that are produced in France by a company called Assimil. And they're quite well known for people who are language learners. Assimil is a well-known name. I just want to show you a few of these titles and then one of my favorites. So here's what the Assimil books look like. This one says is German with Ease. So Assimil produces most of their titles for people who speak French as their native language. So they have, what do they call it? Allemand sans peine, I think is the French name for this, and then they started to make them in English. So I have German with Ease. What else is cool here? Russian. They don't call it with ease on this one. The Russian textbook is great because one of the things it has in it is it indicates where the stress is in the words. If you've studied Russian, you know how frustrating it is when you're learning this language and you don't know where the stress in the words are. And you just sound goofy when you try to talk. But this gives you all that information. All of the books are very similar formats, so they will have Russian on one side of the page and English on the other side of the page. Can you see that? Maybe you can. Maybe that's good enough on my little webcam here. But they'll have Russian on one side of the page, English on the other side of the page. There'll be some grammatical notes included. And the audio that comes with this series is just top-notch. It's very, very clear. One of the things I like about it is they don't blab a whole bunch in English before they get to the lesson and do a big setup like, you know, here's a couple of people talking in a restaurant, blah, 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 and then you get a little snippet of Russian. No, it's just Russian dialogues by native Russian speakers, and the quality is perfect. No background noise or hissing. It's as good as it gets. So as I said, they make them mostly in French. Oh, I've got Italian here, Dutch. I've done a bit of work in the Dutch book. French has two levels. They have Assimil French with Ease, and then there's this one called Using French, which is a second level, which I really like. It's often easy to find beginner's levels textbooks for any language you want to do, but to get that next level, this is really great for that. And again, same format, about 100 lessons, French on one side, English on the other, but it's definitely more advanced than the previous one. That really tested me. The only ones of these series that I can honestly say I've worked through from front to back is French with Ease and the Using French book, and I just love them. And I'd probably do well to go back through, especially the second level of French. As I said, Assimil is a French company, and some of the titles that they have are only available for people who speak French as their first language. They produce books, language learning texts in so many languages, some really unusual ones too, which is fun. But at the time that I wanted to learn some Polish, Assimil did not have a Polish title for English speakers. I don't think they do yet. So I got the French one, Le Polonais. My French is adequate for me to work through this book in French and to learn the Polish language. But even if you don't speak French, you can actually use these books just because of the way they're laid out with Polish on one side and French on the other. If you can't read the French at all, you still get a lot of value out of these books because it gives you the Polish, which is written on the one side of the page. As I said, the audio doesn't contain any English or French, so you can read the text. Polish is a very phonetic language. So I think you could actually get a lot of value out of those. I wanted to get the Brazilian Portuguese title from Assimil, and at the time that I wanted it, they only made it in French. So I bought Le Portuguese du Brésil, which is fun. But a little while later, they came out with Português de Brasil in Spanish. And for me, Spanish is a language that I'm very comfortable in. This is super because if you've ever tried to learn these two languages, if you speak Spanish, you find that learning Brazilian Portuguese is actually pretty easy. There's so much in common, a lot of vocabulary, a lot of grammar. There's a lot of overlap. So this is wonderful. Assimil has now started to produce this book in English, and they call it Portuguese of Brazil or something. I'm not going to buy the English one. I think that working through this book in Spanish will be much more helpful for me, because that ability to compare with a similar language is really, really useful. If I'm speaking Portuguese, the mistakes that I tend to make speaking Portuguese uh, don't they're not problems that I have because I speak English as my mother tongue, but they're problems I have because I speak Spanish. And so Brazilians will say to me, I think you speak Spanish, don't you? Because you sound like you're speaking Portuñol, Portuguese and Espanol, Portuñol mixed together. If I don't know a Portuguese word, I take the Spanish word. I try to make it sound a little bit Portuguese, and most of the time it actually works. But sometimes I also make grammatical mistakes where I will put the word order in the way that we do in Spanish, and it doesn't quite work in Brazilian Portuguese. But you can always be understood. Anyhow, that's a great way to learn Portuguese for me. I highly recommend this Assimil series. They're really good. If you order them with the CDs, they feel a little bit expensive, but they're worth every cent of it. They're worth every dime. As I said, the audio is super high quality. The thing that I don't understand is that they're getting kind of hard to find. It's hard to order them on Amazon. It's hard to find them online. And that's also true of the Teach Yourself series of language books. I don't understand that at all. But anyhow, that's my recommendation. And I also recommend that you use whatever languages you already speak to learn related languages. If you speak German and you decide to learn Dutch, that really helps. If you speak Spanish, you want to learn Italian, that really helps. Don't be afraid of using a language that is not your mother tongue to learn another language. Have fun. Look forward to talking to you again soon. Bye.